friends. So today we are going to talk about diversity in living world. So this is a very interesting topic. So watch it till the end and don't forget to subscribe and also don't forget to press the bell icon for further updates. So we'll move on to the lesson. Yes, first we'll see what is living. Okay, now whom do you consider as a living object? For example, it could be a plant, it could be an animal, it could be we humans, it could be microorganisms. So how do you consider somebody as a living creature? Alright, so we have 4 important characteristics to consider any organisms. Alright, any creature to be a living organisms. And then after we finish this video, the question for the day is virus a living organism or a non-living organisms? So if you find the answers, post your comments below. So first we have increase in size, increase in mass, metabolize and reproduce. So first, okay, we'll take plants as an example. So now what happens from the seedling? A plant is growing into a plantlet, okay, and then into a very big tree. It yields its flowers from which fruits. Yes. So first is increase in size. So we humans are increased in size, right? So that is increase in size. We grow day by day. So for example, you can compare your birthday pic, your first birthday pic with your 5th standard birthday pic. First standard birthday pic with your 5th standard birthday pic. So do you feel any similarities? No way. You would have increased in weight, increase in size, your facial features, your dressing sense, your hairstyling and everything, the way you look. So that's why we consider humans, plants, animals as living organisms. We grow, we increase in size. Next is metabolize. So what do I mean by metabolize? We eat, we breathe, we sleep. So we do whatever the work we want for us. The same way plants and animals, they do eat. Yes, they do eat, they digest their food in not the same way as humans, but as their own way. Next is reproduce. So we humans give birth to young ones, right? Same like animals, we reproduce. We look forward our progeny, our generation. So that's why we reproduce. So that's why we humans are considered as living organisms. Isn't it simple? Very simple. So what is living? Anything which increase in size, mass, they metabolize and they reproduce. Next, diversity in living world. Alright, so a very fine example is that, do you have a pet animal? Okay, now you compare yourself with your pet animals. Okay, we don't need to go to such an extreme. You compare yourself with your own mother or father. So you list down the similarities and you list down the dissimilarities between yourself and your mother or a father. So more than the similarities, you will find a more of dissimilarities in your facial expressions, the way you talk, the way you respond to things, the way you dress, whatever, what not all. So that's why there is a difference in the living world. So imagine we humans have differences, right? The same way humans and animals have a wide differences. Animals and plants have a wide range of differences. We all three have wide range of differences with the microorganisms. So first is range in size. Differences in size. Alright. For example, you take ant and you compare it with elephant and you compare the size. Yes, it is a very smallest creature, it's the biggest creature, which is a bulky creature. Next is habitat. So you compare yourself with fishes. So cat. So cat is a terrestrial animal. But what happens to fish? They are all aquatic animals. They dwell in water. So that is habitat. Habitat is a place where they live. Next is physiology. So what is physiology? The external differences. So the way we smile, our facial arrangement, so how our limbs are, so everything is our external arrangement. Next is the anatomical differences. So anatomical is where inside our body, anything inside our body. For example, we humans have four-chambered heart. We have two auricles and we have two ventricles. So when you compare it with animal kingdoms, there are many animals with four-chambered heart, three-chambered heart and two-chambered heart. Yes. Next, why should we classify? So why should we classify humans separately, animals separately, bacteria separately, or in animals there are different animals. You have mammals, you have aves, you have reptiles. So why should you diversify them differently? The first is to find the common features. You have to find what are all the common similarities. For example, you compare yourself with your mom. What are all the similarities? Your color tone is same with your mom's tone, and the way you eat is similar. And then you know the relationship between how you are related with a specific individual. For example, we humans, okay, we have a common ancestor, apes. Alright, so ourselves and chimpanzees are a wide range. We have a different route of classification and origin. But how did we evolve from a common ancestor? Ape. Alright, next is to study the evolution. As I told you, to study about the common ancestor, how did we origin and which point did we separate or diverge. So the topic for the day was diversity in living world. So we saw what is a living world, why should we find the differences, what are the various differences. So that's it. So now we'll see what is classification. So classification is a system of arranging things. For the finest example, imagine you have a room and it's a messy room. Everywhere the things aren't in its proper place. So what do you do? There's a toothpaste. So where do you go and keep the toothpaste? Inside the bathroom. And where do you keep the pillow? On the bed. So where do you keep your cell phone? On a particular desk. So why do you keep it so? To remember it the next time. If it is a toothpaste, it has to be kept in the bathroom. If it's a pillow, it has to be kept on the bed. Alright, so everything has its own location and its own use. The same way a world is full of things, animals, organisms. It has plants, it has animals. In animals we have different types of animals. In plants we have different types of plants. We have bacteria, minute organisms. So you have to place all these organisms under a particular category, alright, so that you can group it as a one community. So many scientists, they came forward to place these organisms in its own particular community, and that is called system of classification. Okay. First is two kingdom system of classification. So it was put forward by Carl Linnaeus in the year 1735. Okay, so now he placed Plantae and Animalia into separate kingdoms. So Plantae, you have plants, and Animalia, you have animals. Alright, so Plantae will have plants, Animalia will have all the animals under these kingdom. So Carl Linnaeus put forward with two kingdom system of classification. Next, three kingdom system of classification by Ernst Haeckel in the year 1866. So he found, okay, now Carl Linnaeus missed one more kingdom. Let me introduce this kingdom in my own system of classification. So he introduced a new kingdom, Protista. So we know Plantae, plants, Animalia, animals. Now what about Protista? So have you heard of the term protozoans? Amoeba, where you draw right from your 6th grade. Remember drawing amoeba, studying about amoeba? So amoebas are a typical example of a protozoan. So the characteristics of protozoan, the different types of protozoans and their classes, we'll discuss it in the future class. Next is four kingdom system of classification. So it was introduced by Copeland in the year 1956. Copeland. So he found, okay, now Ernst Haeckel missed out one more kingdom. Let me introduce four kingdom system of classification. So he introduced kingdom Monera. So kingdom Monera has all the other bacteria because he felt, okay, protozoans he kept placed under Protista, plants he placed under Plantae, animals he placed under Animalia. So what about bacteria? Why did he exclude bacteria? So let me include bacteria. So he introduced the kingdom Monera, bacteria. Next, five kingdom. So he is the hero of the day for five kingdom system of classification. So he was like, he compared all the systems. Okay, there's one more kingdom which has been missed out. So let me introduce that and come up with five kingdom system of classification in the year 1969 by R.H. Whittaker, right? So Monera, we know bacteria. Protista, protozoans. Plantae, plants. Animalia and animals. Now fungi, he introduced a separate kingdom for fungi because fungi can never be placed under plants or protozoans. So fungi is a separate kingdom because it has its own separate characteristics. Okay, so name few fungi. Like this also next class we'll discuss, but a very great example is that you have your bread, you don't use the bread, okay? So you didn't even eat it, you kept there aside for 3 to 4 days. Now take out the bread, what do you observe in it? Have you ever seen it? Like green or black colored pigments or spory organisms, have you seen it? So those are fungi, bread mold, black mold. So the characteristics of fungi, examples of fungi we'll discuss further in the next class. So now how to remember this? So you should not change the order because that's how our evolution has occurred from bacteria, then protista, then fungi, plants and animals. So mom, pro, fun, plants and animals. So plants, plantae, animals, animalia. So mom, pro, fun. Monera, protista, fungi, plantae and animalia. And now we'll discuss 5 important MCQs, alright, which you will face in your competitive exams. That is the kingdom of classification with its founder along with the year. Okay, first, mom told Sam to get 2 carrots for 35 rupees, 3 eggs for 66 rupees, 4 combs for 56 rupees, 5 wine bottles for 69 rupees. Okay. So now mom told Sam to get 2 carrots for 35 rupees. 2 kingdom system of classification introduced by Carl Linnaeus and in the year 1735. Is it easy? Yes. Now you can memorize this 3 to 4 times so that all the other things will be much easier for you all. So now 3 kingdom system of classification. 3 eggs for 66 rupees. So 3 kingdoms system of classification by Ernst Haeckel in the year 1866. Next, 4 combs for 56 rupees. 4 kingdom system of classification by Copeland in the year 1956. Next, 5 wine bottles for 69 rupees. So 5 kingdom system of classification by R.H. Whittaker in the year 1969. So the first one is 1735, the second one is 1866, and the other 2 is 1956 and 1969. So let's move on to the chapter. So first is taxonomic hierarchy and nomenclature. So first we will see what is taxonomic hierarchy. So now what is hierarchy? Hierarchy is a simple English word where arranging things in its own rank. For example, a person who has scored 100 on 100 is the first rank. Then 99 is the second rank, one rank below. 98 is the third rank. So that is hierarchy, arranging in order. Next is taxonomy. So taxonomy is the arrangement of a biological species in its own rank is called as taxonomic hierarchy. So in taxonomic hierarchy, we have 7 important hierarchies, and each of these hierarchy, you call it as a rank or a taxon. So each of this, you call it as a rank or a taxon. So we have 7 important taxonomic hierarchy. So kingdom, phylum, class, order, family, genus and species. So before going on to what is the meaning of all this, so I will tell a simple trick to remember all these 7 things in order. So Kate placed coffee on fat girl sister. So now Kate, kingdom, phylum, class, order, family, genus and species. So don't change the order. Kate placed coffee on fat girl sister. Kingdom, phylum, class, order, family, genus and species. So to get to know what exactly is this, before that we will move on to 2 important distinct examples, and then it is easy for you. So it is not necessary for me to teach you, and you will teach me what is all this. So when you get to know, when you understand these examples. So first is cat. So we have domestic cat, our pet cats, and it is the simplest way to distinguish them, to arrange them. For example, kingdom. Alright, in 5 kingdom system of classification, we saw 5 kingdoms, right? Plants, animals, bacteria, protozoans and fungi. Now cat comes under what kingdom? Apparently, obviously it is animal. So kingdom, so it is placed in kingdom Animalia. So next, now cat has a backbone. So next is your phylum. So any animal that has a backbone that are called as chordates, and any animals that do not have backbone. Example, worms, earthworms, which do not have a backbone are called as invertebrates or non-chordates. Alright. So now cat has a backbone. So they are placed in chordates. So next is class. So in phylum chordates, we have like important classes: Mammalia, Reptilia, apes, species, mammals. We have so many classes. So now cat is placed under mammals. Why? Because cats, they give birth to young ones and they feed them. So that's the important characteristic. So they are placed under mammals. Next is order carnivorous. Now what sort of food does a cat eat? So cat only has milk. So no, they forage on the other animals, right? So they are placed under carnivora, and they have sharp incisors teeth. So this is your incisors teeth. So they have a sharp incisors teeth, like this very sharp incisors teeth for tearing the flesh. Next, they are placed in family Felidae. So Felidae is cat family. Alright. So we have lion, tiger, jaguars, leopard, fox. They are all come under what? Cat family. So Felidae is a cat family. So family is Felidae. Next is genus. So genus is Felis. So anything which is related to cat has placed in the genus Felis. Next species is Catus. Catus means a cat, a domestic cat. So now can you understand the differentiation of the ranks? And next we'll move on to one more example. Crocodile. So we'll talk about saltwater crocodile. So first they are placed in kingdom Animalia and the phylum Chordate. So crocodiles, they come under reptiles, right? They do have a backbone. So Animalia, Chordates. So all this is a well-known feature. So next is class reptiles. So why are they placed in reptiles? Because they have a scaly, rough skin, and what do? They lay eggs. So they are placed under reptiles. Next order is Crocodilia, because not all crocodiles are crocodiles. There are gharials, you have saltwater crocodiles, you have alligators, we have caimans. So all these are different types of crocodiles. So now this classification about a simple saltwater crocodile, so order they are placed in Crocodilia, because in all these crocodiles we are specifically talking about crocodiles, and we are excluding the alligators, caimans and the other Types of crocodiles. Next is family. Crocodilidae. Crocodilidae. Dilidae. Crocodilidae. So family is Crocodilidae. So which means that specifically it is referring to crocodile. So that's why it is placed in Crocodilidae. Next is genus Crocodilia, because we are talking about saltwater crocodile, so only genus is Crocodilia. Next is species Sporosus. So Sporosus means saltwater crocodiles. Alright, so now this are a very basic example of crocodiles and cat. You can classify all your favorite animals under this taxonomic hierarchy. Alright, so now we'll move on to what is what. So first is species. This is the lowest order of classification, and kingdom, which is the highest order of classification. Got it? So now species. So species refers to a particular animal. For example, cat. Catus, it is referring only to our domestic cat. Porosis, it is referring only to our saltwater crocodile. So species. So species is a unique name which refers to the particular creature. Next is genus. So genus refers to the similarities, few or more similarities to a species. For example, Catus and Felis. So Catus refers to a domestic cat and Felis is what? Cat family. Alright, so that is genus. Few or more similarities of the species is kept under genus. Next is family. So now what is family? You can guess it. Few or more similarities of the genus is placed in family. And in Felis, the family is Felidae. So Felidae is what? All the cat families. So it includes what? Not only the cat but also the whole of the cat family. Lion, tiger, jaguar, leopard. Next is order. Few or more family similarities. Few or more similarities of the family is placed in order. Order is carnivora. What is carnivora? They are all what? Predators. They go and forage on other animals. So that is order. Next we will talk about class. Class is what? Few more similarities of the order is placed in class. For example, in this carnivora, the class is mammals, where they give birth to their young ones and feed them. Next is few more similarities of the class is placed in phylum. So what is phylum? Is the second highest order of classification. Cords, they do have a backbone. Next is the topmost king is your kingdom. So where all the characteristic features, similarities is placed under the particular kingdom Animalia. So now you can work out the same example with crocodile and the other animals as well as plants. So plants, I will take a separate chapter on how to do this taxonomic hierarchy. So for today's class, we saw about what is taxonomic hierarchy, the 7 different ranks, and we explained all these ranks. Next we will move on to nomenclature. So once we are done with the nomenclature, we are done with our first chapter. So next we will move on to our second chapter. So yes, so first is nomenclature. So what is nomenclature? It is a system of naming things. For example, why is a cat called as a cat? So why do you name a book as a book? So sometimes these names are kept with a reason and sometimes simply without a reason. As the origin of language, the evolution of language, the names are kept as such. So why are we humans called as humans? For simple, after you're born, why did your parents keep that particular name for you? So everything has a reason. Some may have a reason and some may not. So nomenclature is the system of naming animals and plants as well as microorganisms. So today we will talk about nomenclature of animals, alright, as well as few plant examples. So first we will see the rules of nomenclature. So what are the various rules to name an organism? So first rule, it has to be in italics. So or it has to be written separately and underlines. For example, you are typing an animal's name in the computer and you have the option called as italicization. For example, my name is Priyanka. How do you write it? Slantingly it goes. Have you seen this italicization bold option in computer? So that's how it is, a slanting letters. So that is italics, italicization. Or else if you're not typing out on the computer, you're just writing the name on the board or a paper. So how do you write? You have to write it separately. You have to write the first name and the second name separately. Alright? The genus name, the second is followed by the species name. Okay, so that is the second rule. The genus name has to be written first and the species name has to be written second. Now the genus, right, whenever you write the genus name, you have to start it with a capital letter. And then species name, you should always start it with a small letter. Now write the genus name separately, write the species name separately and underline separately. Alright. Next is it is accompanied with founder. For example, the name Felis Leo. It is found by a scientist Lin. Right. So Lin named this animal Felis Leo. So Felis Leo, and this genus and species name is accompanied by the scientist, the founder who found this, who kept name for this animal, Lin. And the founder name you have to start with a capital letter and end it with a full stop and a comma, or simply the first name of the person, Lin. So it is not necessarily you can write Lin, you can just put L full stop and a comma. That's a third. Next, if it is named after a person, for example, a scientist is finding or is giving name for a particular organism, and in that case you get the species name ends either with I, E or AE. For example, yes, we have Hemidactylus brookie. It is a normal name for our house lizard, and look at the name here, Hemidactylus brookie. It is ending with key, E sound. So that's why it is named as after a person. So which signifies that it is named after a person. Okay, next we are done with the rule. The first rule, it has to be italicized, or if it is written, it has to be written separately. It has to be underlined separately. The generic name should always be in capital letter. The species name should always be in small letter, and then sometimes the name is also being accompanied with the founder of the nomenclature name. Okay, next we'll finish off with the three important, that's all, the chapter is over. First is binomial nomenclature, trinomial nomenclature, and then tautonymy. So in this whole chapter, I found this tautonymy as to be very interesting. It is actually fun. So we'll move on to it later. First is binomial nomenclature. The term bicycle, which means two. Okay, so binomial nomenclature means name. So it has two names. Very simple. Mangifera indica. Okay, it's the name for mango tree. How it has one species name, one genus name, and one species name. Alright, that is binomial nomenclature. Mostly binomial nomenclature names are more in number, right? And then trinomial nomenclature, where you have one genus name and two species name. Suppose the species is the lowest order of classification. In sometimes this lowest order of classification species should be varied, right? There are many variations in these species name. In that case, we go for a second species name and we call it subspecies. Species next to the species, subspecies. So Corvus splendens. So it's a name for house crow, like normal crow. So Corvus splendens. So Corvus is the generic name. Splendens is the species name. And again one more, splendens is the subspecies name. And next is tautonymy, which means that repetition, where the species name and the genus name is same. Okay, so vulpes, right? So now first one obviously is the genus name and second is the specific name, species name. So vulpes, which means red fox. Naja is a very common term. What is it? Cobra. Rat is rat. So now you can find out the other interesting tautonymies name and you can comment below. So we are done for today's topic. We saw what is nomenclature, the system of hierarchy, and in next chapter we will start with the second unit of 11th CBSE board. So what is it? I guess it will start with Kingdom Monera. So we'll move on with that. Thank you.